What was like your highest earning month in sales before this?
$3,800
Damn. Okay,
Yeah.
so less than $4,000. And how much did you clear this past month?
With the bonuses, 13.7K in comps.
More than a
Pretty
3x.
pretty crazy jump, yeah.
All right, guys, welcome back to YouTube. Today I'm here with my boy Nick. Nick, you want to introduce yourself to the people?
Yeah, what's up, guys? So I'm 20. I got into sales like 8 months ago now. Started working with Sham about a month ago, and it's only been up from there. I think we'll get into that in a bit, but yeah, I'm excited for it.
100%, 100%. We'll definitely get into it in a bit. So first of all, I just want to give some people some context. So Nick actually started by just watching my YouTube videos and a couple of my buddies' YouTube videos as you were starting your own sales journey, right? You were like hopping from offer to offer,
Yep.
and then you kind of reached out to level up your skill set and really learn an exact process that could take you to the next level. So I guess the first thing I want to start off at, Nick, is like what actually made you decide you wanted to get some coaching in the first place?
I think that there's so many different like people in the space that are all teaching something a little bit different, and I had so many people trying to kind of get me to use their process. I had so many different points of advice coming in from so many different places that it all kind of just got kind of like all jumbled up, and I felt like it got to a point where I wasn't even doing what I knew I needed to do on sales calls. I wasn't being authentic. I wasn't having like genuine conversations with people. I was just worried about like using a specific word track or objection handling one way or objection handling another way. That I kind of realized I was shooting myself in the foot. So obviously I've been watching your YouTube for like the past 6 months or so up until that point. So I was like, let me just actually work with someone who I know sells the way I like to sell, um, stick to their specific process and go from there so I can actually have one thing to focus on. So that was kind of like the main reasoning for me.
Yeah, makes sense. It kind of seems like you obviously were on a bunch of different offers, right? So it seemed like different
Yeah,
managers kind of taught you different things, and different
exactly.
offer owners were like, do it this way, do it this way. And ultimately you have to figure out, okay, how do I actually want to sell?
Right.
For
Yeah.
sure. And what was like your biggest month coming into the coaching? Like what was like your highest earning month in sales before this?
$3,800.
Damn. Okay,
Yeah.
so less than $4,000. And how much did you clear this past month?
With the bonuses, 13.7K in comps.
More than a
Pretty
3x.
pretty crazy jump. Yeah.
Insane. How does that feel, man? Like how old are you? 20?
20.
20, you're gonna make probably over multiple six figures this year. Like, how does that feel?
Feels amazing, dude. Feels like it's finally kind of like starting to hit the trajectory that I knew it would. I just genuinely didn't think it would take this long. Like
Yeah,
when I got into sales, I was like, oh, I'll probably be making 10K a month by like month 3 or 4. No, no,
yeah,
dude, you got to go through the trenches first.
sure. It
Um,
took me like 7 months,
yeah,
7 months to make my first 10K month. So how long is it you? 9 months in?
yeah. So this April was my ninth month
Yeah,
of sales.
got it. So like 8 months in, you really made your first like huge month, and you kind of skipped the 10K. You went straight to like almost 15K. And I'm sure you're probably gonna skip like 15K and go straight to like 20K. I'm sure.
That's what I'm
Um,
thinking. Yeah,
Yeah, I think so. That's the way to do it, especially because there's a new offer you guys are cooking up too. So for
yep,
sure, man, dude, I love that. I love that. And I think the biggest thing for you, Nick, is you applied yourself a lot in the coaching. Like you always came and you were like, hey, let's review this call. Let's do this. I'm having this trouble, this thing I want to get over. Like what would you recommend to the people? Like, let's say to someone who's stuck making like 4 or 5 grand a month as a sales rep, like what would you recommend to that guy to get to your level of making, 10, 15, 20 grand a month?
don't be afraid to look at every single flaw that you have. Like quite literally go through a call, look at every single thing you did wrong, and then from there figure out what you need to focus on, what you did the most wrong, right? Figure out exactly what you need to focus on the most. And this, I think this can be internal too. I don't even necessarily think you need a coach to figure this out on your own. I think where the coaching really comes into play is once you figure out what your biggest weaknesses are, then the coaching comes into play of bringing them to that person and having them help you fix them, right? But I think a lot of people, especially in this space, are so in a sense they kind of get like clouded by their own ego, and they think like, oh, I'm just on a bad offer. It's the leads. It's my sales manager, whatever it may be. Like, dude, you really kind of just have to take a step back. And this was like the biggest change for me. You kind of just have to take a step back and realize that you're really not that good yet. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You have
yeah.
so much to improve upon. So it's kind of just like focusing on what your biggest weaknesses are and figuring out how to fix them. Whether that be going to a coach, whether that be, reviewing your own calls, whatever it may be. Really just open your mind up to like what you're doing wrong.
Yeah, I think with that mentality, it's hard not to see success, right? When you're constantly like, instead
Yeah.
of coping, you're just like, okay, what can I do better?
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah.
you're right. Like a lot of sales reps are just like, oh, like the sales manager's playing favorites. Obviously, this person getting all the calls, so there's no way I can make money on this offer. But like, you kind of have to be retarded because there's someone else making money on this offer, right?
Right.
So there's a way to get there. There's a way to get there. You
Always.
know, that's amazing, man. I remember you joined my free community a while ago on another offer, the offer owner that I know as well. And then you
Yeah.
were kind of like in the trenches and like how are you like kind of offer hopping and like what made you kind of offer hop and what made you decide to stick with this offer? Because I feel like that's really valuable intel for a lot of these sales reps as well to figure out like when to hop and then when to stick.
Yeah, and that's a big thing too. Like number one, obviously skill set plays a massive part. And if you have a really good skill set, you can make money on any offer. But like realistically, skill set can only bring you so far.
Mhm.
So I got to the point like with my first offer, I've been a setter there for a couple months. I made like 3K a month as a setter. They promoted me to closing, and I was just like absolute bottom of the barrel as a closer. I was getting the worst leads, low
Mhm.
priority on the calendar. Um, I would say the biggest thing is kind of exactly what you just said. Look at the top closer, look at the top setters, see what they're making, and realistically, if they're making the numbers you want to make, that is your sign that that offer can work for you, right?
I agree.
On that offer specifically, the top closer on a webinar month made like 7 grand with all the priority. And I was like, this just, it's not worth my time at that point.
Yeah.
So I switched to a different offer, the one that you know the growth op of. It was the same thing with that. I was actually the only closer that ever closed a deal on that offer besides the offer owner. And I stuck with them for like 3 months. And I think my
Yeah.
my highest month there was like
And I think
38.
even then, like you even before you hopped, you stuck with them for 3 months. That's not a
Yeah,
short amount of time, you know. It's like
no,
you still like you saw it through, and then you're
yeah,
like, okay, now I can figure out, okay, there's something better out there for me, you know,
right.
instead of just like doing 2 weeks of it and then hopping off.
Yeah, definitely give each offer its time, especially if it's a very new offer where they're bringing you on as kind of like the lead closer aside from the offer owner. Stick it
Yeah,
out, let them work through their kinks on the marketing side of things. See the potential in it, and you'll just know like internally once you do see the potential if it's going to make sense for you or not, right?
100%. Yeah. Also, like I think at a certain point, beggars can't be choosers, right? Like when you're brand new,
Yeah,
you got no experience, and someone's taking a chance on you. Like you should do everything in your power to be the best that you can be. And now that you're in a position where you have experience, you've had 120K a month, 130K a month, and you're going to continue to have budget cash like under your belt. Now you can be in a position where you can demand a better offer, or you can demand a higher
right.
percentage from your offer owner, or provide more value to get more in return, like because you have leverage now, right? Versus people are just so impatient, right? They'll have first week on the offer, they're like, let's get a commission boost going. It's like, no, you haven't closed shit. What am I boosting? You know?
Wow.
Yeah. Why would I
Yeah.
even do that? That's the whole point. So for sure, man, I think that's the biggest thing about you, Nick. And that's why I like working with you a lot. Obviously, we hung out in Miami as well. Um, like you have no cope in you. You're kind of like me and all my boys. Like when we're in sales, we're just like, okay, well, what can we do? What's in our control?
Yeah.
You know, and that's like the best thing. That's the best mentality to have as a sales rep. Is like, what is in my control, and just doing 100% of that. And I feel like
Absolutely. Yeah.
anyone who does that will see success in sales.
Yeah.
Event-
It's like, and also like you look at every single successful sales rep, they all have that exact same trait, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Um, and even that's the thing too, like when you're starting out, when you don't have leverage, you don't have any cash collected under your belt, that matters even more sometimes because if you're really focusing on your inputs, even if it's a terrible offer, you're still going to learn so much
Yeah.
working terrible leads. As
Yeah.
long as you're still working your ass off, you're going to build that skill set through that terrible offer. And then once you have the skill set, you get onto an offer that can actually make you money.
For
You're going
sure.
to outperform everyone else because you've been through those trenches and because you've learned like what it's like to actually just put in the inputs,
100%.
regardless of the outcome.
100%. That's why I always tell all my setters as well. I'm like, hey, while you're going through the trenches, appreciate the trenches because right now you're doing the work that's not paying you. But soon enough, before you even know, like you're going to be getting paid a lot more than this for a lot easier work than this.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but the only way you actually earn that is by just going through the trenches of dialing 300 shitty leads who are not picking up, or don't want to talk to
Yeah.
you, who don't give a
Yeah.
fuck about you. Like that's what builds the skill set. So when you have an inbound call, you actually value it. You're not just going to take it for granted.
Yeah, and that's exactly it, dude. A lot of people just take this space for granted, and that's why they don't see the money they want to make.
Yeah, and I like a lot of people even say like high ticket sales is saturated, like being a closer is over. AI is going to take everything. What are your thoughts on that? Like, as someone who's currently in high ticket sales, about to make multiple six figures this year from it, like, do you
Yeah,
think it's saturated? Like, what do you feel about this space?
I always love it when people say that because like we've spoken about this before as well, but high ticket sales is extremely saturated in the bottom 98%.
Yeah,
But if you can get out of that bottom 98% is a with your skill set, which is really not that hard to do because most people aren't willing to put that work in.
yeah,
If you're realistically above that bottom 98%, you can make so much money because it's so undersaturated at the
Yeah.
highest level. Every single good offer on the planet is looking for another good rep that
Yeah.
actually has a skill set. The reason why people think it's saturated is because they come in, they dial for a month, they don't make any money, and then there's 100 other people on their offer that are all doing the same exact thing and not making any money, and they're like, oh, it's not for me, right? But yeah, it's undersaturated if you're a good rep, and it's definitely oversaturated if you're not a good rep.
For sure. For sure. I totally agree with that, right? And especially like the better you get as a rep, the more leverage that you have. And we keep talking about leverage, but like there's also skill sets you're learning. Like you right now, like you brought a setter on with your team, an offer owner. You're super tight with your offer owners. I can totally see a few months from now you getting a profit share with your offer owner just because you can help them with staffing, you can help them with management, you can help them with so much more
Yeah,
stuff. So that's just how you level up your skill set too, right? Because you're just
exactly.
sticking with it. You're not like hopping around. You're not like trying to figure out what's greener on the other side. You're literally figuring out how do I make the most out of this opportunity. And whenever I've done that, and whenever I've had to step away from this opportunity for something else, something's better always found me.
Exactly. Yeah.
You
And
know?
it's just always how it goes, dude. You put in the inputs. If it's really time for you to part ways with an offer and you've actually put your work in, a better offer will find you.
100%. It's like it's hard for a better offer not to find you. Just like when you left your previous offer, you instantly found a better one. Same thing with
Yeah.
me. When I left my first offer, instantly I found an offer that made me $400,000 the next year.
Yeah.
Right? It's like so, and I got it inbound. I didn't even have to like reach out for it. But it's just like I don't know. I think I believe in the universe a lot. Where like if you put in so much effort, the universe kind of has to go on your side and make it work for you. You know, like when you put your heart and soul into
100%.
something, like there's something bigger than all of us that just comes to your side and just like helps you out. So I'm a firm believer in that for sure. And I think the biggest thing as well is like the archetype. Like you are the ideal archetype of a sales rep, you know, like a young guy, didn't go to college, hungry for money, willing to work his ass off. Like if you fit those boxes,
Yeah.
dude, there's not a better career for you than high ticket sales. You don't have to leave your house. You can work in an AC, you can work unlimited hours, make unlimited money. Like there's literally not a better career for you for a money hungry young guy, in my opinion.
I don't think so. And to be honest with you, like aside from going to college, I've tried like every other career path you can imagine. I've tried every single online business you can imagine. I worked in restaurants, I worked like manual labor. I've done like everything under the sun. This was the only thing that I actually just like clicked for me and actually made me money quickly.
Yeah.
And like
Even if it didn't make you rich the first month, but you saw profit the first month, like you saw, like, okay, I got a
exactly
paycheck, I made money.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And at that point I knew I had no skill set and I could still make, 800, $1,000 a week with no skill set in
yeah,
the back of my head. And you kind of have to have this mentality when you're starting out as well, because you're not going to be making much money. In the back of your head, you just have to be like, if I can make this with no skill set, then what can I make once I do have a
facts,
skill set, right?
facts.
Like at the end of the day, it's really all just mental pushing through like the first couple months of it in the trenches and learning. But once you get through that, there really is like a light at the end of the tunnel with it.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's so much opportunity in the space in general, right? Like the info space, like there's so much money out there. Even when we're just in Brickell walking around, like money is flowing through those streets, you know?
So much.
So much money. And like I feel like high ticket sales is the best way because you get to learn about the space and everything that goes in it for free. You actually get paid to learn everything about the space. So
Yeah.
like 2 years from now, when you have multiple six figures saved up, and now you're like, okay, I don't want to be a sales rep anywhere. I want to start my own business. Not only do you have money, you have the skills and the connections to actually do something massive instead of trying to start a business with $1,000.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it too. And like that's once I did make some real money, I realized that I was like, I'm quite literally gonna have a cushion of capital and so much more knowledge than like any other random kid who's trying to start drop shipping or start
For
growth
sure.
operating. So it's exactly what you said. It's a mix of you building up capital to use for your next move, as well as you just building up the skill sets and the knowledge of just business in general. Because you get connected with everybody through sales. Every
100%.
single business in the world needs a sales rep.
For
You
sure.
know what I mean? Everybody that sells a product or service needs a sales rep.
Yeah.
So you just learn so much through that process. So I
Yeah, and
definitely
we're
agree with that.
we're focused on info, but like even the verticals of sales, like we were talking about insurance when you pulled up, like even
Yeah,
that, like you can get so good at recruiting and get hooked up with a good agency, like you can make fuck you money in insurance, just by being a really, really good recruiter and training reps really well. So it's all these skill sets that just compound over time that you can't see in day one. Like the day one when you're dialing the shitty lead, you can't see how it's gonna pay you 5 years from now. But
yeah,
like you need to have the foresight to just be able to believe that okay, eventually this can be something great for me. And every single one of my buddies, including you, who started in sales, made less than $1,000 their first month. Every
yeah.
single one, including me.
Yeah, I think I made like $175
Yeah,
for it.
I think I made probably like $700, something like that, in my full month of working like full time. But like we all just had this delusional belief of like it'll just be better. Somehow we'll figure it out. It'll just be
Yeah,
better.
yeah.
And then somehow it just ends up working out for every single person who has that belief.
Because that's all it is, dude. And again, like the only reason we've had that belief is it's the same thing. It's like having the foresight and looking at people who are doing what you want to do and being like, fuck it. If they can do it, I can do it. You know what I
That's
mean?
I think that's the biggest thing is like whenever I look at someone who's done something, I think like why not me? Why can't I do it too?
Yeah.
And I know you're the same way as well, where like you look at someone who's done something incredible, you're like, okay, I can do it too. If someone's done it, I can do it too.
It's just proof that it's humanly possible. And that's so many people have the opposite way of thinking of that. And like we see this with prospects all the time too on
Yeah.
sales calls. Like this person was so successful, and then there's so many limiting beliefs of them just assuming that there were different things that played a part in their success, whether
Yeah.
their parents were wealthy, whether they got lucky with something, whether their cousin already knew how to
Yeah.
drop ship and
Everyone
they
has their own cope for sure.
so many different copes with it.
Yeah.
Whereas we look at it and we're just like, if they did it, I can do it. Like, sure, they might have been a bit luckier than me, or maybe they even had a worse start, but it like doesn't matter as long as you put the inputs in, that outcome is possible because they have it.
100%. No, I totally agree, man. 100%. So, dude, I want to talk a little bit more about sales specifics. Like, what would you say you learned about in sales stuff or mentality wise that you kind of didn't have a few months ago before we started working together? Like, what do you feel like you've actually developed through us working together?
I would say number one is just confidence overall. And that's like I think the first time we hopped on a call, we spoke about that, but just like confidence on the actual calls bleeds through to the prospects. Um, that confidence comes from a couple of things. For me personally, a lot of it came from actually having a strict process to build on and follow. Have like one thing to kind of like tunnel vision on and work on each and every call. And that as well, we were talking about that. Like it kind of brings more motivation to you when you have something to work on. If you're going into a call and you feel like stagnant and you feel like, your process isn't that great, but you don't really know how to fix it, or, like you kind of just feel like you've been doing the same thing every call and you're at like a 20% close rate. If you're going into each and every call thinking, okay, this specific part of the call is what I'm going to work on and what I'm going to improve upon, you want to hop on sales calls. You want to work 12 hours a day. You want to work 14 hours a day. So that was a really big thing. It's just like having a strategic process to follow and knowing that every call should kind of look the same way. And it just came down to like working my calls and slowly like fitting them into that box of how I wanted them to go. And that's where the confidence came from for me. And just like authenticity in general too.
Yeah. So you said confidence was the biggest thing you kind of learned in the sales aspect.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing in sales. So like obviously like I gave you my whole checkpoint system. We went through like the exact scripting, the words of what I should look like, what the tonality should be. And I think all that is very, very important, but all of that is irrelevant if you don't actually believe you can follow through with it and actually close someone.
Exactly.
You know? So confidence, I totally agree, is the number one foundation. What would you say to someone who's like kind of thinking about getting some mentorship, thinking about getting some coaching, but not really sure? They're like in sales, making a few grand a month, but they're like, I probably just need a better offer instead of getting some help, which might be true, honestly. But what would you say to them?
Well, I think both things can be true at once. Like you can get a better offer and make more money with the same skill set, but either way, whether you stay on your own offer or you switch to a different offer that makes you a little bit more money, if you actually, and this is the biggest thing too, because there's so many different coaches in the space. There's so many different people saying, sell this way, sell that way. What it really comes down to is like, dude, get coached by the person who you like genuinely resonate with. Like if you watch a sales call from someone, you're like, I like the way that this sounded, or you like the way that they speak, the way they have conversation. That's what it really comes down to, is just get coaching from the person you feel like you resonate the most with. Because number one, if you think you like the way somebody's sales process sounds, realistically, you're going to make more money if you're following that same process because you resonate with it, right? So sure, you can get on a different offer and make more money with the same skill set, but both things are true. A new offer will make you more money if it's a better offer, and coaching will definitely make you more money on the same offer or a different one. So that's kind of just what it comes down to for me, is like just get coaching from someone who you like.
For sure. And I would say we're more like friends than even like coach mentee, right? Like we've hung out a few times. We have like chats that are not even about sales and stuff. A lot of out of pocket chats too. But like, I feel like that's like the best way to even like build a relationship like that. I wouldn't want to be like a formal sales coach ever, because that's just like, that's not me. I'm young. Like everyone that comes to work with me is young too. Like I like having that environment where like we're young, hungry dogs, just being friends, talking about fitness. We were talking about jujitsu for so long.
Dude, for like 2 hours on your balcony in Brickell, we were just talking about
like what's your half guard system. Like I remember it was a long conversation. But yeah, I feel like that's the best way. That's the best way to learn too. So, dude, amazing, Nick. Like, I'm super proud of you, man, with the work that you put in, and I can't wait to see what you do more, dude. What's
Yeah,
the next month's target?
20K.
20K. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do
So
it, bro.
12K for this month. Crush that. 20K is the next target.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. By the way, this guy's it's not passive income. This guy works his fucking balls off, works like all day, every day. So it's definitely not passive income. But if you're a hardworking young guy and you just want you just want an opportunity where you can make a lot of money, I think sales is definitely the path for you. So Nick, please plug your IG, let the people know where to find you.
Yeah, so actually it's a pretty fresh idea. I'm gonna start posting on there soon, but it's Nick.Veloce. So Veloce. Go ahead and drop a follow there. Gonna be posting some sales content. Probably drop some like YouTube videos as well. So I'll plug that in there.
Yeah,
But yeah, coming soon.
amazing.
Gotta get to work first.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Of course. Of course. Nick's gonna be the next big sales guy coming up in the field, guys. Look out for him. I appreciate you for jumping on, guys. If you guys want to learn more about the mentorship, you guys want to learn more about how I kind of coach Nick, just fill out the Typeform application in the description. And we can jump on a call and figure out exactly how we can help you. So thank you, Nick. Let's get to work.
Let's get to work, boys. All right,
Yeah.
see ya.